Sometimes the silence stretches longer than your faith expected. Sometimes the promise feels like a distant echo, fading into the ache of days that don't seem to change. You've cried, you've waited, you've whispered back prayers into the quiet, hoping God still hears, still sees, still remembers. This message is for the one who's still holding on, the one who hasn't let go, even though your fingers tremble, the one who won't abandon what he said, even though your eyes haven't seen it, the one who chooses to believe in the dark what was spoken in the light. You're still holding the promise, and heaven sees that. There's a sacred weight in the kind of faith that refuses to quit. Not loud faith, not perfect faith, but rooted faith, quiet faith, faith that endures the wilderness because it remembers the whisper. God's promises don't expire. They don't wither in the delay. They are not weakened by time or threatened by opposition. They are sealed with the breath of the one who cannot lie. Isaiah chapter 55 says his word does not return void. It accomplishes what it was sent to do. But between the sending and the fulfilling, there is a valley called trust, a wilderness called waiting, a silence called surrender. And it is in that space where many grow weary. But not you. You've stayed. You've chosen hope when it would have been easier to quit. You've worshipped through the ache. You've prayed even when you had no words left. And God saw every moment. Heaven doesn't overlook the one who keeps showing up, who keeps lifting their hands when heaviness tries to press them down, who keeps returning to the altar, not for answers, but for presence. The promise still stands, even when the circumstances scream otherwise, even when others move on, even when nothing makes sense. He still holds what he spoke, and he's watching to see if you'll keep your eyes on him. Not the timeline. Abraham waited, Joseph waited, David waited, Jesus waited. Waiting doesn't mean forgotten. It means forming. It means God is shaping you into someone who can carry the promise without it crushing you. So lean into the silence. Not as abandonment, but as a sanctuary. God is not late. He is layered. Every word he speaks carries eternity in it. Every delay is packed with design. And even now, the promise is still alive. Even now, it's still breathing. Even now, God is still working. He's still weaving the invisible threads behind the scenes. He's still clearing the path no one else sees. He's still pruning what needs to die so that what lives can endure. You're not just holding the promise. The promise is holding you. It's anchoring you when everything else tries to drift. It's keeping you when doubts rise like waves. It's marking your life in ways you won't understand until the harvest breaks open. So stay the course. Breathe deep. Rest in the knowing. You don't have to feel it to trust it. You don't have to see it to believe it. The one who spoke it has not changed his mind. You're still in his story. You're still in his sight. You're still in his hands. And the promise? It's still on the way. Sometimes the hardest battle is not against the enemy, but against the urge to give up. It's in the quiet hours when hope whispers faintly, and disappointment shouts loud. It's when you fasted, prayed, obeyed, and still, nothing has moved. Not the mountain, not the needle, not the outcome. But here's the truth few will say aloud. Real faith is not proven in miracles. It's proven in the middle. When nothing is changing, but you still trust. When the door hasn't opened, but you still knock. When the healing hasn't come, but you still believe he is good. God is not testing your strength. He's proving your surrender. He's teaching you to trust him more than you trust the outcome. Because the promise was never about the thing. It was always about the relationship. He didn't say he'd meet you at the result. He said he'd walk with you through the process. And some days, that walk feels long. But hear this, every step is sacred. Every unseen moment is written in his book. Every tear is counted. Every sigh is stored. You are not overlooked. You are being established, rooted, readied. The promise is not just something you wait for. It's something you grow into. It shapes you while you wait. It stretches you. It purifies your motives. It cleanses your expectations. And in time, it manifests in a way that leaves no room for doubt, only awe. So don't lose heart. Your obedience is not wasted. Your waiting is not in vain. Your worship in the wilderness is resounding in heaven. Right now, there are angels assigned to your assignment. There are answers in motion. There are doors being prepared. And if you've come this far, don't stop now. If this whisper has met you in a weary moment, and if something in you is rising again, then let this be the moment you pause and breathe. And if you've been stirred, let the words carry beyond you. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, not for numbers, but because someone else is holding a promise too, and they need to know they're not alone. Now lean back in, let your spirit drink deep. God is still speaking. The promise is not fragile. It's forged in fire. You've been tested, not to break you, but to reveal you. The wilderness was never the end. It was preparation. The silence was never God's absence. It was your amplification. You are not invisible. You are chosen. You are not delayed. You are in development. And soon, the clouds will shift. The door will open. The answer will speak. But even if you're still waiting, let this be your declaration. I'm still holding the promise. Because God still holds me. Let this truth echo louder than the voices of delay. God hasn't changed his mind. What he spoke over your life is still in effect. His word was not casual. His promise was not vague. It was deliberate, precise, eternal. And though the winds of life have tried to bury it, the seed of that word still lives. You've been through storms. You've survived loss. You've battled fear. You've wrestled with questions too heavy to say out loud. But the promise, his promise, has held you. It's been the quiet anchor beneath the surface. It's the reason you keep waking up with a flicker of hope, even when logic says otherwise. It's the reason you can't let go, even when others have moved on. It's the reason your spirit still leans forward, waiting for the slightest sign of rain. God is not done. He is not a man that he should lie. What he began in you will not end in disappointment. But he is a gardener, not a mechanic. He grows things. He tends things. He cultivates soil before he reveals the bloom. That's what this season has been. Cultivation. Breaking the hard places. Pulling out old roots. Making space for what is holy. That's why it's taken longer than you thought. That's why it's felt deeper than you expected. Because what's coming is bigger than you imagined. And it cannot rest on shallow ground. You are being deepened. Because what God plants in you must survive the droughts. It must outlast the winds. It must carry the weight of the assignment. And that kind of fruit takes time. So hold the promise, not loosely, but with reverence, not with panic, but with peace. It was never yours to fulfill. It was always his to finish. You are not the manufacturer. You are the vessel. And vessels don't strive. They surrender. So rest. Not because it's easy, but because it's in God's hands. And he is not nervous. He is not behind. He is not improvising. He is orchestrating. And you, beloved, are still in the center of his plan. The promise still holds weight. And you are still being prepared to carry it. Some promises are not delayed. They are maturing. And maturity takes more than time. It takes surrender. It takes pruning. It takes yielding your own understanding for the wisdom of the gardener. And he sees what we cannot. He knows what the promise needs to grow safely. He's protecting you from premature fruit. From blessings that aren't anchored. From outcomes that would outgrow your roots. And while the waiting tests your heart, it is also healing it. Because you thought the promise was the destination. But it was always about becoming. God is not just preparing the answer. He's preparing the one who will carry it. He's forming your voice in the hidden place. He's refining your discernment in the quiet. He's anchoring your character when no one else sees. This isn't punishment. It's preservation. You are not stuck. You are sealed. You are not wasting time. You are walking with God. And he never wastes a step. So lift your eyes. You may not see the breakthrough yet, but you can trust the builder. You may not hold the fulfillment, but you can rest in the faithfulness. He who promised is faithful. Faithful in silence. Faithful in mystery. Faithful when the calendar says otherwise. Faithful when your heart aches and your hands are empty. He is the same God who parted seas, who raised the dead, Who breathed stars? And he is still the same God who spoke to you. That whisper? It wasn't your imagination. That vision? It wasn't your ambition. That burden? It wasn't random. It was heaven marking you. And heaven doesn't forget what it marks. So walk on, with reverence, with quiet strength, with tears that turn to oil. Because the promise is still alive. And the one who spoke it? He's still holding it for you. You are not holding on alone. The hands that stretched out on Calvary are the same hands holding your promise now. They've never let go. Not in your doubt. Not in your exhaustion. Not in your silence. Even in the moments when you questioned if you had missed it, God remained steady. His word is eternal. His voice is unshaken. And his heart is still set on you. The promise was not a bait. It was a bridge. A bridge into deeper surrender. A bridge into unwavering trust. A bridge into becoming. And you, beloved, are crossing it, step by trembling step. Faith not always loud, but always rooted. And as you walk, the path clears. Not all at once, but just enough. Enough light to take the next step. Enough strength to pray again. Enough hope to stay planted. And you are growing, even if you don't feel it. You are becoming, even when the mirror doesn't show it. And soon, the silence will break, not with noise, but with the voice of fulfillment. The kind of fulfillment that carries glory. Not just answers. Wait, not just relief. Legacy, not just relief. You're not being punished by the wait. You're being honored by the preparation. Because what God is about to do through you requires roots that only hidden seasons can grow. So keep holding the promise. Not because it's easy, but because He is worthy. And He will finish what He started. He always does. You're not late. You're not off track. You're not too far gone. You're exactly where God can shape you. Right here, in the tension between what was spoken and what is seen. This tension is holy. It stretches you. It sobers you. It reveals your idols and recenters your worship. And through it all, you've kept holding. You didn't abandon what He said. You didn't walk away when it got heavy. You didn't trade His word for something quicker. You stayed. And staying matters more than you know. Because heaven honors those who remain when nothing makes sense. You are the kind of person God builds legacies through. Not because you're loud, but because you're loyal. Not because you're flawless, but because you're faithful. And faithfulness is the soil where fulfillment takes root. So keep watering your trust. Keep feeding your worship. Keep protecting your peace. There is fruit forming even now. You may not see it, but the heavens do. And when the time comes, it won't be a trickle. It will be a flood. Suddenly, everything will shift. Suddenly, the weight will make sense. Suddenly, the pain will feel light. And when it does, you won't just be holding the promise. You'll be walking in it. So don't flinch now. Don't let weariness speak louder than truth. Don't let time steal what trust has built. The gardener has never abandoned his field. And he's still tending to the seed he planted in you. You will see the fruit. You will taste the fulfillment. You will stand in the place you only dreamed of. Because the one who promised is not a liar. He is a keeper. And you, beloved, are kept. Still. Always. Perfectly. And if today feels heavy, let this whisper hold you. The weight you feel is not a sign of failure. It's evidence of promise. Only those who carry purpose feel this kind of pressure. Only those who are chosen wrestle in the midnight hours with hope and ache in the same breath. You've carried it longer than you thought you could. You've wept more than words can explain. You've fought the urge to let go 1,000 times. But you're still here. Still standing. Still hoping. Still holding. And heaven applauds that. Because what you're carrying is not small. It's not shallow. It's not ordinary. It's kingdom. And kingdom promises take kingdom roots. So the gardener is faithful to dig deep. To press where others wouldn't. To shape what eyes can't yet see. Because He knows what's coming. He knows the weight of the testimony forming in your life. He knows how many will eat from the fruit you've cultivated in secret. He knows what this promise will unlock when it finally breaks through. So don't compare your story. Don't measure your timing against theirs. Don't let someone else's visible harvest discourage your hidden planting. Your time is not their time. Your season is not their season. And your promise is not on their path. It's on yours. Walk it with wonder. Walk it with reverence. Walk it with your head held not in pride, but in trust. God is still holding it. And He has never let go of you. Let this next breath be one of release. Not of the promise, but of the pressure to fulfill it yourself. You were never meant to carry the outcome. You were meant to carry obedience. And you have. You've stood when it hurt. You've stayed when it stretched you. You've obeyed when it cost you. And God has seen it all. He has not overlooked your consistency. He has not missed your midnight tears. He has not ignored your whispered yes. Every moment has been recorded. Every act of trust has been planted as seed. And harvest is coming. It won't look like you imagined. It won't come in the wrapping you expected. But it will be perfect. It will be full of Him. Full of glory. Full of fruit. Full of joy. And when it comes, you'll remember this season. Not with regret, but with reverence. Because this is where you grew. This is where you became. This is where you learned to hold the promise, not with clenched fists, but with open hands. Not with anxiety, but with peace. Not with striving, but with stillness. God hasn't failed. He hasn't changed His mind. He's simply finishing the masterpiece. And you, beloved, are the canvas He's still painting. The ink hasn't dried. The story isn't done. And the next chapter? It's glorious. This is not the end. Not of your promise. Not of your story. Not of the word that was spoken. It may feel final right now. The door's closed. The silence loud. The answer's absent. But God is not finished. He is the author. And the ink of your story is still wet. He is still writing. Still weaving. Still speaking. Still fulfilling. He doesn't speak in vain. He doesn't move without purpose. And He doesn't forget what He plans. So if it hasn't come to pass, it's not over. He's just not done. And neither are you. So rise again. Trust again. Hope again. Even when your heart feels heavy. Even when the calendar whispers lies. Even when every voice tells you to quit. Hold the promise. With quiet courage. With anchored expectation. With the kind of faith that stirs heaven and silences hell. Because your faith is not in the outcome. It's in the one who holds the outcome. And He is faithful. So very faithful. Even when your hands are empty. He is full. Even when your soul feels weary. He is strong. Even when the promise seems far. He is near. And He's holding you while you hold the word. You're not alone. You're not lost. You're not disqualified. You are still the one He called. Still the one He chose. Still the one He's preparing. Still the one He will fulfill it through. So wait with worship. Watch with wonder. Hold with holy confidence. Because God hasn't let go. And the promise? It's still alive. So let the promise rise again. Not with noise, but with quiet fire. Not with striving, but with surrender. Not with control, but with confidence in the one who holds time in His hand. The same one who sees the end from the beginning. The same one who still whispers your name in the silence. You have not missed it. You have not failed Him. You are not behind. You are on holy ground. And holy ground doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't bend to deadlines. It listens. It trusts. It waits. Because it knows who the voice belongs to. And when that voice says, "I'm still holding the promise," it means the story isn't over. It means heaven hasn't folded its plan. It means you can rest again. You can breathe again. You can sleep knowing the promise didn't die in delay. It was deepened. It was refined. It was resurrected on a more secure foundation. And that foundation is your faith. Built in the quiet. Built in the pressing. Built in the days no one saw but God. He has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked you. He has not moved on without you. You are still His choice. Still His vessel. Still His joy. So keep going. Keep building altars where others build platforms. Keep digging wells where others chase water. Keep showing up to the secret place. Because the one who meets you there is still the keeper of what he said. And when the fullness of time comes, when the doors swing wide, when the light breaks through, you will carry something no man can take credit for. Something pure, something holy, something born not in hype but in him. And it will be clear to all who see it, God did this. God sustained you. God built you. God fulfilled what he promised. And you? You just stayed. You just trusted. You just held the promise until the promise held you. The fire hasn't gone out. It's just been hidden beneath layers of waiting. But embers still burn. And God knows how to breathe on embers. To turn them into flame. To turn your waiting into wonder. To turn your questions into a story of redemption. He never needed you to be perfect. He just asked you to stay open. And you have. Even bruised. You've believed. Even weary. You've worshipped. Even questioning. You've clung to him. And that is what moves his heart. Not polished praise. But honest perseverance. The kind that says, even here, I still believe. And heaven sees it. Heaven records it. Heaven honors it. Your yes in the middle matters. Your obedience in the delay matters. Your tears on the floor matter. And the promise? It has not forgotten you either. It's alive. It's active. It's still connected to your name. Still wrapped in your calling. Still waiting for the right moment to unfold. So guard your heart, not out of fear, but in wisdom. Don't let disappointment dismantle your vision. Don't let delay define your worth. Don't let the timeline tell you what only God can declare. He said what he said. And he meant it. So return to the place where he first spoke. Revisit the altar where the fire first fell. Let that fire burn again. Let hope rise again. Not because it all makes sense now, but because he's still worthy even when it doesn't. The promise is still worth it. You are still chosen for it. And the God who gave it? He's still holding it, firmly. Faithfully. Fully. What if the silence is sacred? What if the delay is divine? What if this in-between space is the very soil where the weight of your calling is being rooted? You wanted answers. But he's giving you something better, alignment. Because the promise is not just about what happens to you. It's about who you become through it. God is not in a hurry. He's building something eternal. And eternity takes time. You're learning to walk slower. To trust deeper. To breathe in rhythm with heaven. And in that rhythm, your roots are going deep. Not just into the promise, but into the promiser. That's where stability lives. That's where the shaking loses its power. That's where peace surpasses understanding. Because you've been hidden not to be forgotten, but to be fortified. You were never meant to bloom in shallow ground. The gardener knows the weight of the fruit you'll carry. He knows the pressure that will come with it. So he digs deep. He pulls away the layers. He asks for your full attention. And when you give it, the promise doesn't shrink. It strengthens. It settles. It wraps around your soul like an anchor. So no matter what moves, you don't. No matter what shifts, you stay planted. Because your faith is not in what you see. It's in what you know. That God is still faithful. That his word still stands. That his voice is still the loudest. And that no delay can cancel a word sealed in heaven. You're not too late. You're right on time for what he's building. So stay steady. Stay close. And let that promise do its holy work in you. You are not waiting in vain. You are not being teased by heaven. You are being trained, prepared, purified, for something your current season cannot contain. That's why the promise hasn't shown up yet. Because it doesn't just fit into your life. It transforms it. It disrupts patterns. It demands deeper foundations. It carries glory. And glory cannot rest on shaky ground. So God allows the shaking. Not to destroy you, but to define you. To show you where you've built on sand. To realign your focus. To rebuild your hope. And to remind you, this promise is his. Not yours to control. You've been faithful with what you know. Now rest in what he knows. He sees the whole. He sees what's ahead. He sees who you are becoming. And he is not intimidated by the tension you feel. He steps into it. He holds space for it. He whispers over it, I'm still holding the promise. And when he whispers that, The atmosphere shifts. Your soul steadies. Your hands relax. And your heart returns to peace. This is the power of prophetic promise. It lives beyond time. It breathes past logic. It speaks louder than delay. And it will not be denied. So prophesy to your soul again. Speak what he spoke. Declare what you heard. And let faith rise, not from hype, but from history. From every time he came through. From every moment he showed up. From every whisper that carried you through the night. This is your reminder. He hasn't dropped it. He hasn't changed his mind. He's still holding it. And you are still in the center of it all. Let your memory preach to your weariness. Remember what he already brought you through. The nights you didn't think you'd survive. The doors that opened when everyone was shut. The provision that came out of nowhere. The peace that found you in the storm. He was faithful then. He is faithful now. The promise hasn't grown cold. It's only been covered. Covered for protection. For cultivation. For growth. And when the covering lifts, you'll see what God has been nurturing all along. Something deeper. Something wider. Something fuller than what you asked for. Because he's not just answering prayers. He's answering destiny. And destiny doesn't come rushed. It comes refined. So let the refining do its work. Let the waiting mature your discernment. Let the longing deepen your worship. Let the stretching increase your capacity. You are not the same person who first received the word. You've grown. You've shed layers. You've been pruned. And that pruning was never cruelty. It was kindness. It was love preparing the way for wait. Because God doesn't just want you to receive the promise. He wants you to hold it well. To steward it fully. To multiply it for others. And you will. In time. In Him. Not because you fought for it. But because you stayed faithful. And that faithfulness will be your legacy. The whisper you pass on. The oil you carry. The story you tell. I held the promise. Because He never stopped holding me. So let this be your reminder. Your altar. Your declaration. You didn't imagine it. You didn't mishear Him. You weren't deceived. You were marked. And heaven remembers. Even if it's been years. Even if you no longer talk about it. Even if you buried it under layers of survival. God still remembers. He remembers what He spoke in the secret. He remembers the moment your spirit leapt. He remembers the fire in your eyes. He remembers the yes in your heart. And He is not done. The promise hasn't died. It's only been hidden, tended in secret, preserved through pain, held in the hollow of His hand. And when He says it's time, nothing can stop it. No demon, no delay, no detour. Nothing can block a promise held by God. So prophesy again, sing again, write again, dream again, not from pressure, but from peace, knowing the weight is not on your shoulders. It never was. The same God who started it will finish it. You just have to stay. Stay soft. Stay surrendered. Stay anchored in His voice. That's where the promise lives. That's where it breathes. That's where it waits. Not on your timeline, but in His hands. And His hands are still holding you. You are not behind. You are in the middle of becoming. And the middle is messy. It's where you wrestle. It's where you wonder. It's where your faith is refined and your character is carved. But it's also where God is closest. He walks in the fire. He speaks in the stillness. He leads in the shadows. And He always finishes what He starts. You're not waiting on Him to remember. You're waiting on the perfect time He already saw. The time when your spirit is ready. The time when the soil is prepared. The time when His glory will shine through you, not just for your benefit, but for the healing of others. Because this promise isn't just about you. It's about the people who will see your bloom and believe again. It's about the ones who gave up until they saw you rise. It's about the dry places that will be watered by your testimony. So stay the course. Don't let the silence steal the seed. Don't let the pain distort the purpose. Don't let the timeline undo the truth. God still holds the promise. And He's still holding you. Breathe that in. Let it calm your thoughts. Let it steady your soul. You're not done. You're not lost. You're not disqualified. You're planted. And the gardener never forgets where he's sown. Every whisper still matters. Every prayer still echoes. Every moment still counts. And soon, sooner than you think, the promise will bloom. And it will be beautiful. Because it grew in secret. Because it was watered with surrender. Because it was held by God. And when it comes, you'll know, you didn't make it happen. You just stayed long enough for Him to bring it to life. So take this final breath and rest. Not because everything is perfect, but because He is. Not because you have every answer, but because He is still holding the word He gave you. Still watching over it. Still preparing you to carry it. And you will. In peace. In joy. In truth. Because this was never about speed. It was about surrender. And you, beloved, surrendered well. The promise still lives. And He still holds it, for you. And when you finally stand in the light of fulfillment, you'll know it wasn't by might. You'll know it wasn't by striving. It was by Spirit, by grace, by the unshakable hand of the one who never let go. And the fruit? It won't just satisfy you. It will feed nations. It will break chains. It will awaken the weary. Because what you carried in the dark is drenched in glory. The story you lived in silence will speak louder than 1,000 sermons. And the oil you gathered in secret will pour freely on dry hearts. So lift your head, not in pride, but in assurance. Your roots went deep. Your heart stayed open. Your faith held fast. And the promise, still wrapped in heaven's breath, is rising. It's coming. It's near. And the one who whispered it first? He's never stopped holding it. For you.